Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving deep into the European Union's ambitious new rulebook for the most powerful AI systems out there. And we're going to focus on its absolute core, Article 53.
Really think about that for a second. How do you regulate AI that can do almost anything? This is the massive challenge the European Union is tackling with its landmark AI Act. We're not talking about an AI that just plays chess or recommends a movie anymore. We're talking about AI with these broad, incredibly adaptable capabilities. And that requires a whole new way of thinking about regulation.
So first things first, let's get our terms straight. The law zeroes in on what it calls general-purpose AI models, or GPIAs for short. Just think of the huge language models that power chatbots, or those amazing image generators that create any picture you can imagine from a simple text prompt. The key thing here is that they aren't built for just one narrow purpose. Their defining feature is their incredible versatility.
Okay, let's get into it. Here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to start by looking at how this new rule actually came to be. Then, we'll break down the 4 core obligations for anyone providing these AI models. After that, we'll tackle the really crucial question about open source AI. And finally, we'll zoom out and discuss why this European law is probably going to have a massive global impact.
So let's kick things off by understanding the very foundation of this new regulation and the whirlwind journey it took to become law.
What is really striking when you look at this is the sheer speed of the whole process in 2024. After years of debate, all the key institutions just rapidly came together, finalizing the text between January and July. And that swift conclusion provides something the industry has been desperate for: a stable, predictable legal framework that developers can actually work with.
Now, right at the heart of Article 53, you'll find 4 fundamental duties for anyone who wants to put a general-purpose AI model on the market in the EU. And these are all designed to build a solid foundation of trust and accountability.
You can really think of these as the 4 pillars needed to build and maintain trustworthy AI under this new law. Each one tackles a different piece of the puzzle: transparency, responsibility, from how the model is built to how it's monitored in the real world. So, let's take a look at each one.
Okay, pillar number 1 is all about transparency. Providers now have to create and keep up to date a detailed technical blueprint of their model. This is actually pretty similar to the model cards concept that's become a best practice in the AI community. And it's not just about the code. It's about documenting the data, the performance, the risks they already know about, and the safety measures they've put in place.
The second pillar dives right into the very contentious issue of copyright. Here, the law creates a really clear balance. On one hand, providers have to put a policy in place to respect copyright. But critically, they also have to use state-of-the-art technology to identify and respect any opt-outs from creators who don't want their work used for AI training. This gives rights holders a powerful new tool to control their own content.
Pillar 3 basically opens a window into the model's digital diet. Providers are now required to publicly release a detailed summary of the content they used for training. And to make this super clear and consistent, the EU's new AI office is going to provide a standardized template. That way, you can actually compare apples to apples across different models. And finally, the 4th pillar locks in accountability. If regulators have questions or if they need to investigate a potential risk or an incident involving an AI model, the provider has a clear legal duty to cooperate fully. This closes the loop and makes sure there's a real mechanism for oversight.
Now, all of this brings us to a huge question. How does this law affect the incredibly vibrant and innovative open-source AI community? This is something that regulators were very, very aware of.
The law goes out of its way to recognize the power of open-source innovation. As a general rule, models that are released under free and open-source licenses get a pass on some of the most demanding stuff, like creating all of that extensive technical documentation. This is really designed to foster collaboration and stop the law from accidentally crushing community-driven development.
However, and this is a really big however, that freedom is not absolute. There is a critical safety switch built right into the law. That open source exemption is immediately taken away if a model is officially designated as posing a systemic risk.
So, what in the world is systemic risk? Well, it's defined as the potential for a powerful AI to cause large-scale harm to society. We're talking about things like manipulating democratic elections, enabling the mass production of convincing deepfakes, or amplifying discrimination. The bottom line is, if an open source model gets powerful enough to pose that level of threat, it has to follow the exact same strict rules as any proprietary model from a giant corporation.
So, why should a developer in Silicon Valley, or a researcher in Seoul, or even a user in Sao Paulo care about a law that was passed in Brussels? Well, the answer lies in its potential to create a massive global ripple effect.
You see, at its heart, this law is trying to solve a universal problem. As this commentary points out, the goal is to strike that delicate balance between encouraging innovation while at the same time protecting fundamental human rights. It's not trying to pick winners or losers. Instead, it's creating a predictable, risk-based framework. And that clarity is actually meant to enable responsible innovation by setting clear boundaries rather than stifling it with uncertainty. And this slide really lays out how the law creates these clear impacts and new responsibilities for everyone in the AI ecosystem. For the AI providers, sure, it means more rules, but it also means more legal certainty. For the developers building on top of these models, it means way more transparency. For all of us, the public, it means stronger safeguards. And for creators, it means real new control over their work.
The key takeaway here is a concept you might have heard of before, the Brussels effect. Just like GDPR became the default global standard for data privacy, forcing companies all over the world to adapt, the AI Act is widely expected to do the exact same thing for AI regulation. If you want to access the massive EU market, you're going to have to play by these rules, and that will effectively set a brand new global baseline for responsible AI.
And this leaves us with one final, pretty provocative thought. The EU has drawn its line in the sand. It's created the world's first comprehensive rulebook for AI. The big question now is, will this framework inspire global harmony on AI safety and build a trustworthy ecosystem for everyone? Or will it end up fragmenting the digital world, creating new borders in the race to innovate? The answer is going to shape the future of artificial intelligence for all of us.